Thank you, Chairman. Thank the witnesses for being here today. As Senator Kane mentioned a few moments ago, expanding the Pell Grant for short-term skills-based education, it's one of the quickest and the best ways to combat these labor shortages that we're talking about today and the ones we've seen around the country. I think that my proposal, the Pell Act, which the House is actually taking up this week, it's one of the best ways to approach expanding this program. So my bill allows a variety of educational institutions to participate in the grant program with guardrails that empower institutions to produce high-demand workers for high-paying jobs. And that's exactly what we need to build up our defense industrial base. So Dr. Lockwood, the need for a strong pipeline, switching gears here to cyber, cyber workers, that need has grown exponentially given the current threat environment that we're in. So a two-part question: what can the DoD learn from the private sector on recruiting and also retaining cyber talent? And simultaneously, how can the DoD better compete against the private sector for that talent pool?
Thank you for the question. I think one of the key lessons of the private sector is that a four-year degree is not necessary. We need to enable our young people to become productive workers as soon as possible, and Dr. Johnson has earlier mentioned AI-enabled training. I'll just offer that DoD already has experience with AI-enabled training, in particular in the IT field, where the Navy some years ago piloted a program to train its shipboard computer technicians using an AI-assisted digital tutor. This was an incredibly effective training methodology and quickly was brought to bear to skill up, in this case, an enlisted force, individuals entering without a college education, and quickly make them wildly productive. Not only were they very quickly trained, but the quality of their training was significantly superior to those who had gone through the traditional schooling. And then, sir, I'm sorry, could you remind me of your second question?
Well, how could the DoD better compete against the private sector for that talent pool? Because they're going to be using some of these same things that you're mentioning. So how can we differentiate DoD?
Yes, thank you. I think one thing that the department can offer that the private sector cannot is purpose that is driven by something other than a profit motivation. To some extent, the department will not always be able to compete on wages. It can compete on purpose. I would encourage you to develop a revolving door mindset to make it easy for workers to flow in and out of public service and private employment. Right now, it's more of a one-way exit than a revolving door. So making it easy to recapture that talent, to give re-entering either service members or civilian workers time to recover their career track within the DoD apparatus would be, I believe, very effective. Thank you.
Thank you. So, every high school or college student with a STEM major, they're aware of all these opportunities with Google, Amazon, other big tech firms. So, do you think the Pentagon can improve its advertising or public education on on civilian career opportunities? And what recommendations, if any, would you have that would allow us to further increase the visibility of DoD opportunities?
Thank you for the question. During the time of COVID, DoD and even its industrial partners' footprint in public schools was significantly curtailed, and it has not recovered. I think FaceTime is very important with our young people, and the public schools provide an important avenue for that.
So critical to the defense industrial base and the DoD's civilian workforce is not only hiring talent, but retaining talent, as you know. Are you aware of any barriers in OPM's promotion process which could inhibit retention within the DoD civilian workforce? Dr. Lockwood.
Yes, thank you for the question. I will note that the OPM process for nearly all personnel actions is quite bureaucratic, and it takes a very long time. In many cases also, the position descriptions are outdated and perhaps not well honed for the actual work that needs to be done, and this would inhibit timely promotion and advancement if candidates are being screened by OPM against outmoded job descriptions.
One of the things some of my colleagues have mentioned is the shipbuilding challenges, undersea submarine building challenges coming up. As the Navy works to expand the size of its fleet, so what incentives particular to that would you suggest for the Department of Defense and the manufacturing workforce in this particular area related to shipbuilding and undersea capabilities? Any of you?
We need to draw more workers into this field. So in terms of incentive programs, I think we need to fix the broken federal wage grade system and compensate for these high demand skills. That there needs to be a very visible public campaign to advertise these availabilities and to really put ourselves out there and say this is critical for the national defense and let's all get after it.
Great, thank you. If allowed, Chairman.
Senator, but just very quickly to that point, we actually went to the civilian workforce and asked the question, this is broadly, only 46% of working American civilians have even considered the Department of Defense as employer. And when we asked them specifically why, the primary reason that was cited was a lack of knowledge about the DoD's culture and their employer brand. So in addition to raising salaries and providing all sorts of benefits and talking about, we need to sell that this is an actual opportunity. People just don't think of doing it. They think about go to the military or not.
Very helpful. Thank you all.